Good morning, boys and girls. I'm back to read another chapter of Junie B, first grader one-man band. Remember in our last chapter, Junie B and Sheldon were practicing the halftime show for the kickball game. She still doesn't know how to juggle quite yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in this chapter and see if Junie B. Jones is successful with juggling. Chapter 8, Halftime. Thursday. Dear first grade journal, yesterday when I got home from school, Daddy was waiting for me. And he had bought me a juggle book at the bookstore. It was for children age 6 and up. And 6 and up is my exact age. Daddy and I read each page very careful. Then I did the whole entire book step by step. And what do you know? After I was done, I still couldn't juggle. I kept getting fed up with this silly talent. Daddy said maybe I'll learn it tomorrow. That man was just kidding himself. I am doomed. From Junie B, first grader. I closed my journal and I watched the clock for the rest of the afternoon because I just wanted to get home and practice some more. Daddy came home from work to help me again. He tried to help me juggle for hours and hours and hours. Only the most I could ever juggle was just 2 lemons. 2 lemons is just throwing lemons in the air and catching them. I am not going to school tomorrow, and I mean it. Friday. Dear first grade journal, I'm at school. I don't know what went wrong. On account of this morning, I told my mother I broke my leg and I limped all over the house. And the next thing you know, I was on the bus. I'm wearing the halftime costume Mother made for me. My hat is made out of an oatmeal box. I look like a nitwit. From Junie B, first grader. If you don't know what a nitwit is, that's just saying like she looks very silly. And an oatmeal box is a round container that people use to, another way to cook oatmeal is in it. It actually takes a lot longer than like the easy packs that we just pour and put hot water with, but it's a great old-fashioned way of cooking. I glanced my eyes all around the room. The children in room 1 looked very cute. The kickball players were wearing matching red and white shirts. All of their shirts said, "We are room number 1." The cheerleaders matched each other too. They had on red skirts and white sweaters. I looked at Sheldon. His daddy's band jacket was way too giant, and his band hat came over his ears. He looked silly, too. I put my head down on my desk, very glum. My oatmeal box hat fell on the floor. May started to laugh. I hope that doesn't happen when you juggle today, Junie Jones, she said, very meanish. I raised my eyebrows at her. You are going to juggle, aren't you? She said. I didn't answer that girl. Instead, I turned my head to the wall, and I closed my eyes, and I wished to turn invisible. I wished and wished and wished with all my might. Finally, I opened my eyes again, and I turned around back at May, and I stuck my tongue out of her. She stuck her tongue right back at me. Did a sigh. Bad news. I wasn't invisible. At 10 o'clock, we went to the softball field. Then there were like a million jillion parents there, I bet. Mother and Daddy were sitting on the first row of the bleachers. Grandpa and Grandma Miller were sitting right next to them. They were holding my baby brother named Ollie. He was mooing. All of them waved at me. I did not wave back, because I was still trying to be invisible, of course. Me and Sheldon sat together. He looked at the people in the bleachers, and he turned around again, and he pulled his band hat over his face, and he giggled very nutty. Please stop doing that, I said. You're just calling attention to ourselves. Sheldon put a cymbal on his head. I rolled my eyes at that guy. Then I hid my face in my skirt, and I didn't watch the tournament. There were 2 games going on at once. Room 1 was playing room 2, and room 3 was playing room 4. I could hear the cheerleaders cheering real loud. Room 1 is winning, I think. I listened to the cheering for a very long time. Then all of a sudden, I heard lots of whistles and yelling, and I looked up to see what was happening. And oh no, room 1 had just won the first game, and now it was time for halftime. Mr. Scary came over to get us. I tried to hide behind Sheldon, but Mr. Scary saw me. He said it was perfectly normal for me to be nervous, and I should just try to relax and enjoy myself. This is going to be a day you'll never forget, he said. My skin did a shiver. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm afraid of, I said. After that, Mr. Scary took me and Sheldon by our hands, and he walked us to the field. My legs felt like silly string. Mr. Scary went to the microphone and he made an announcement to the people. Welcome to our halftime show, everyone, he said. While room 1s and 4 are resting for the final game of the tournament, 2 of my students will present some very special entertainment. He winked at me and Sheldon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am proud to present the musical genius of Sheldon Potts and the unique talents of Junie B. Jones. After he finished, he pointed at me and Sheldon, and he gave us a signal to go. Sheldon did a whimper. He did not move. I looked at his face. It was a color of paste, and paste is like glue, so it was white, so he was really scared. Mr. Scary hurried over, and he gave Sheldon a little nudge. Okay, you two, go, 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 he said. Take off. Very slow, I raised up my wood block, and I hit it with a drumstick, real light. Tap. Louder, said Mr. Scary. You've got to play it louder, Junie B, with a little bit of pep, okay? I took a big breath. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Scary nodded. Yes, yes, better, he said. And I tapped. I swallowed hard. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Scary gave me a thumbs up. That's it, Junie B, that's it, he said. Keep it up. I kept it up. Tap, 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 tap. Then pretty soon, my feet started tapping too, and they marched me right into the field. I looked behind me. Sheldon was still standing on the sideline. His face looked even pastier, meaning it's getting even whiter. I ran back there and tugged on his arm. Come on, Sheldon, let's go, I said. Sheldon plopped down in the grass. No, I can't, he said. I made a fist at that boy. Yes, you can, Sheldon. You've got to. This whole show was your idea, and I'm not doing it by myself. After that, I helped Sheldon stand up, and I pulled him onto the field. And that's when the worst thing of all happened, because room 2 started laughing their heads off at us. And it was the meanest laughing I had ever heard. Sheldon froze very stiff, and then he stood there like a statue, and he wouldn't even budge. Then all of a sudden, crash! He dropped his cymbals, and he ran across the playground as fast as a speeding boat. All of the teachers ran after. One of the teachers ran after him. But Sheldon zoomed faster and faster. He ran behind the swing sets, and he circled around the monkey bars, and he kept running and running until he was all the way behind the school. And what do you know? Sheldon never came back. So there's Junie B. Jones standing there. And there's a teacher chasing after Sheldon. Uh-oh. So now Junie B. Jones is standing in the middle of the field with everybody looking at her after Sheldon took off. I wonder how she's going to handle that. Is she going to take off? Is she going to perform? Is she going to juggle? I don't know. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I love you all so much. I'll see you real soon. Sending big virtual hugs. Take care, guys.